EVO, bringing you the thrill of driving on iPad, online at evo.co.uk and in print magazine.
Well, today we've got a really special EVO diary for you because we have the Aston Martin 177. Incredibly rare car, only 77 built, and to put that in perspective, that's about twice as rare as a Pagani or about 6 times rarer than a Bugatti Veyron. Incredibly rare. Makes a Fabergé egg look commonplace, this car. Ultra exclusive, just everything is different on this car to any other Aston really. Carbon fibre construction, 7.3 litre V12 under the bonnet. Beautiful details throughout that I really wanted to show you. So let's start at the front, at the business end, with the engine. First thing to note on the front are these vents. And this vent is actually how the engine breathes. We'll have a look when we'll lift the bonnet in a moment. And these, don't ever touch these are made of titanium, and this is the heat from the exhaust go up a chimney and then they hit these, so they're always venting heat, but absolutely red hot if you were to touch them. Underneath, well, look at it. I mean, it's one of those cars that really ought to have a glass bonnet on it. The engine, first of all, it starts life as a normal 6 litre engine, it's the same, but they've removed the liners and put a very special coating on the cylinders to open up the cc of it. It's now a 7.3 litre V12 rather than a standard 6 litre. Helps it produce 730 horsepower. Enormous amount more than any other Aston. The other Aston's DBS things are rated at about 565, so 730 horsepower from this engine. Moved right back in the chassis. It's dry sumped as well. We've got a giant, great oil tank at the front there. That's helped to mount it even lower in the car and right back in the chassis to get this sort of mid-front engine balance. You actually see how it works. The engine, as I say, breathes through these, and then it actually comes through this structure and into the engine here. So part of this webbing here for strength is also part of the induction for the engine. The other spectacular thing under here is the suspension. You see these upright units here, fully adjustable, 11 adjustments on bounce and rebound. So look, each 177 is set up for the customer needs, whether he wants to drive it on track or use it as a cruising car. All done at the factory as part of the specification when you build it. But what a beautiful, beautiful engine bay. It's one of the best I've ever seen, the way it's finished. They've used carbon fibre all over the engine, the rocker covers, sumps, induction, just to try and get the weight down. Inside, completely different again. The whole construction of this car is carbon fibre. That's unique in the Aston Martin range at the moment. The other cars are constructed out of aluminium, bonded together. This one has a carbon tub actually made by a company in Canada. It's incredibly stiff, 30,000 Newton meters they tell me in stiffness, and obviously incredibly light. And inside it's just this 2-seater, there's no storage space whatsoever, no glove box. That's been replaced by a V12 because it's right forward in this chassis. Incredible to look at this car. Every car is obviously individually spec'd. This one is it's really nice in this tan and this black anodised aluminium. And then even a signature of the owner is actually rose gold up the dash. Reflects a little, but it does make it a completely unique car, and that's what an Aston 177 should all be about. But I have to show you just at the back, it's like a little hatchback at the back, and it's worth having a look because what's hiding under there you'll see in no other car. Let's have a look. Technically, you could call this a £1.2 million hatchback because yes, it does have a hatch. And what it reveals is something I've never seen on another car before. Little windows to show you the suspension. Here's the shocker, just like at the front, horizontally mounted, and then the beautiful aluminium cross member, which carries the whole rear suspension onto the carbon fibre tub itself. These are structural as well. This adds to the stiffness. But 2 little other details here. If I lift this up, you probably can't see, but that is actually where the 177, if I bring it out, 177 toolkit. Well, let's hope we never need that. And then at the front is the 177's boot. And I present you with the boot. You can't even get the squatty bag in there. I don't know what you can carry in there, but that is the whole storage capacity of this car. So best send the luggage ahead. Okay, well, enough of the details. What really matters with this car is what it drives like. Got the key, let's go and find out. Usual starting procedure with any Aston, one of these. Pop it in here, and lots of whirring. There we go. Starts off in neutral, select drive. Seems mad that it's actually an automatic function, but all these cars have it. Up comes the sat nav. One of the things with this is it does have a single plate clutch, and it's one of those features that isn't great because it's got such a tall first gear. You don't notice it once you're on the move, but I have to say manoeuvring is not one of its strong points. It also hangs on to the gears for quite a long time, so 4.5. Anyway, that's enough of automatic. As soon as you touch the paddle, you're in manual mode. Has variable cam timing on this car and the sport button, and combine the two and there's a wild nature to this engine. I can't believe how different it drives to other Astons. All seems... Hear a little bit of a bleeping because it actually adjusts the ride height. It goes down at ride height as you build up speed. I might go quiet at times because it's one of those cars that when you really push on, you do need to concentrate. 730 horsepower, remember. It was a little cold out there this morning. I thought the washers had packed up on me, but turns out they were frozen. It's about 1-2 degrees outside, and we've got Pirelli coursers. They need a bit more heat. Anyway, I'm just happy to listen to that while we're warming up. Fantastic part of the world down here. First time came to really drove a fantastic car on this road was I had a Ferrari 550 when it was launched, and really fell in love with it. This road, this car has a sort of sense of 550 Maranello about it, but oh, it's so much more wild. Another 200 horsepower, and just edgy as well. Aston Martin really want to be congratulated on their carbon brakes though. They've absolutely nailed brakes. Wow! Really is an angry engine. Over a 4,500, 5,000 RPM. It's like it's supercharged, turbocharged, completely different character. Wow! So traction control just coming on, just peaking in third. I can't tell you what speed that is. That's the sense of this car. It's a very edgy car at the top. Not a sort of relaxing GT, but a really exciting car all the same. Can't quite give it full gas. Oh. Just not quite dry enough, but boy is it fast. Just running through some of the other details on this car. It's a 6-speed gearbox, again transaxle gearbox, keep the weight at the back to make it basically heavy at the rear than at the front, all-to-aid handling. It's super wide, you need A roads, it's a car for A roads. You go down B roads and you've got the constant thump of cat's eyes, it just basically doesn't fit on one side of the road. Steering, ultra fast, ultra sharp. Not a huge amount of information coming up on the wheels, but visually in seat of pants, what's really you've got to keep an eye on is what's happening at the rear, because it just can't quite gain the traction in these sort of conditions, and I'm constantly feeling real edginess at the rear. It's the ultimate Aston, so I sort of expect it to be exciting, but I didn't expect it to be quite this exciting. I look in the mirrors, all I can see is these huge arches, these really swollen arches. And then these mirrors are out on these incredible stalks. They're very delicate, really nicely done. But it is a very intimidating car, shall we call it, around these sort of lanes. But when you get onto the right bit of road, it all makes up for it, because it absolutely hammers down the road. Oh, it's so edgy. There's a funny noise, you probably just heard it then. It's the wing winding down, a bit like on Porsche 911 and Boxsters, the wings go up and down at a certain speed. This does the same at the back, but it's a peculiar noise as you hear the electric motor wind it down. You don't seem to notice it going up, probably because you've accelerated, but on the way down you think, what's that noise? I think your phone's going. sound, it doesn't sound like any other Aston because I think it's the lighter flywheel, it just revs quicker. We're only doing, what, 4,000 RPM. Just. I just want to spin up all the time. I'm going to have to come back in the summer. Well, what a day it's been. Aston 177, some of my favourite roads in Wales all day. Weather's behaved, sun just going down on Snowdon in the background, snow at the top. Fortunately, no snow on the roads. But what an incredible car this has been on roads like this. It just suits the really big roads we've got up here. Some things I don't like about it, just mention them in passing really. The gearbox doesn't like manoeuvring, sort of a bit jerky coming out of car parks and things like that. You get quite hot in the cabin because the exhaust runs down the sill, so you've always got this sort of radiator. Sort of fine in Wales at 2 degrees, but I think it's a bit of a problem in Saudi in 40 degrees. But then there's the upside. You've got this stonking engine, 7.3 litre engine, completely different character to any other Aston Martin engine I've ever driven. It's all about horsepower, this one. Variable cams on it, bigger CC, and from 4.5, 5,000, it absolutely screams. Much lighter flywheel, and all you're doing is controlling this horsepower. It's not about torque, it's horsepower, this car. And trying to get traction on these sort of roads can be a bit of an issue. But when it does hook up, whoa, what a ride it is. So I've really enjoyed that with this car. And it was just wilder than you expect. The steering's very quick. Doesn't give you a huge amount of information, but it really feels like this is a circuit racer that's come to the road. It's not a sort of luxury GT car. It's more Koenigsegg and Bugatti Veyron in character, and I sort of love it for that. This is the ultimate Aston. It should be a bit scary, and this one can be a bit scary quite a lot of the time. But what a privilege to spend a day with this car. Beautiful to look at, incredible to drive. Maybe I'll never drive one again, but I'm so glad I've spent a day with an Aston 177. It's magnificent.